Tell us why you guys are here.
Man, we had the launch party, Junior Punks launch party. It was also like a New Year's Eve party. It was thrown by like this company called Ball Drop, but we kind of took it over. You know, it was all ours, and so there's about 6,000 people there.
Go dummy, go beast on them. I go beast. Go deep, I OD on them. Apply pressure, put heat on them.
Well, fellas, thanks for coming out to Doors to Success. I'm your host, B.Holmes, laying out the B print, and where we teach everyone how to knock, open, and conquer the doors of success in your life. And I'm very, very excited, super stoked. We're sitting here with the two of the most hustling, young, gun-slanging dudes that I've had a pleasure to meet. And on my last podcast, I talked about NFTs and the projects that I got involved with. And these dudes, the realest of the real, showed up to come shoot a podcast. We got the Junior Punks in the house. What up? What up?
Hey,
Fellas,
I'm
thanks for
stoked
coming.
to be in Utah. This is my first time in Utah, so it's like there's a lot of snow.
Dude,
a lot of snow and a lot of mountains.
But the first time y'all are here, you came with a bang.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, tell us why you guys are here.
Man, we had the launch party, Junior Punks launch party. It was also like a New Year's Eve party. It was thrown by like this company called Ball Drop, but we kind of took it over. You know, it was all ours, and so there's about 6,000 people there. You know, they were all raging and stuff. We were, promoting Junior Punks quite a bit there. And, obviously we had our holders, VIP access, B.Holmes. My man was there.
Yeah.
He showed up. Yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. So
It was a good event, too. I was getting a little frustrated sometimes because the security, not the security guard, but the people who are in charge of letting people up to the stage are like, hey, you can't come up here. You know, I'm like, what? I'm like, we helped with this drop. Like, we literally, like, helped put in all the money into, like, making all this happen. But I was like, it's okay.
Yeah,
I'm like, bro, this is my stage.
Yeah, no, we've done throughout the years, when we run these companies doing sales events, we put on big ones, thousands of people. And you can always tell the guys that are real that have done it before because they're patient. Yeah. In those, like I told you, I said, I'm probably the one, you're good, bro. Yeah. You gotta worry about me. I'll just stand backstage with my lady. We'll do our thing.
Yeah.
When they let us on. Why? Because I've ran events like that before. And you're not in control of the fire marshal, of the people, the head count, the weight limits on stage. So real recognizes real. People that have been through it will be cool. And if they're not, check in your mind because that's someone you don't want to mess with anyway in the future. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, most definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. No, shout out to Ball Drop. Honestly, they put on a crazy event, man. Like that was super crazy. We kind of just, we showed up. We did our thing as well. We had a big part to play too, but like they killed it. So that was super awesome.
For sure. Before we dive down that vein of Junior Punks, Ball Drop, what got us to this point. Hey, but y'all are supposed to say that you came to Utah for the Doors to Success podcast. That's what you're supposed to say. Okay. All right. Okay. So we came here for, no, just kidding. But before we got here, there used to be a little baby Joey and baby blonde John, right?
Yes.
And then we've kind of made our way through because here in my podcast, in my life, it's all about, we are thoroughbred entrepreneurs, true entrepreneurs. Like I come from the streets. I knocked my way into my corner office. I don't wear a tie. This is what this is about, young hustlers. And so y'all are the epitome of what's happening now in our world. And it's super exciting for me. So people want to know where y'all came from and then how did y'all meet? And then what brought you to this project? So let's talk about, let's go Joey first because he's here. Joey, what got you involved? Tell me the point where you touched John and then where you're here, and then we'll go John, then connect, and then we'll keep going, right? Is that what I'm saying?
Gotcha, yeah.
Take it away, Joey.
Yeah, so basically, I grew up in Minnesota, like my whole life. Like, like when I was super young, I actually grew up like kind of in the woods. Like I was homeschooled to like 6th grade. And then after that, after high school, I actually made my way out to Arizona because I was like, I did a semester up in North Dakota, but I was like, man, like there's nothing going on up here. Like it's just cold. It's like it just didn't feel like what I was meant to do. So I went to Arizona. I didn't know a single person out there. Like I just kind of went out. I was like, man, it's going to be, I'll figure it out, right? I'll make friends, connections. There's a lot happening there anyways. And then he was like in the friend group that I met first. Like I met someone in my class and he kind of introduced me to the friend group and John was part of it. And so that's kind of when we met like in GCU.
Stop. So I think it's important to note what most of the viewers always ask me. I get this like every time. They're like, dude, how do I relate to that person? So when you said, because there's a lot of people out there that maybe were homeschooled, that maybe live in a state like Minneapolis, Minnesota, whatever, and they're like, how do you become a millionaire? And that's not me. I was homeschooled. So what kind of guy were you? Like if I went back in time to high school, what would you be doing right now in high school right now?
Man, in high school, I was a gamer, man. I was playing COD all day. I was like, I was just hanging out with my friends, I was ripping Mountain Dews, and I would just hang out with buddies. I honestly, to be honest, in high school, I did not focus at all. Like I really had no cares at all for my classes. I was actually like, outside of like after I kind of got through my gaming phase, like later into high school, I was actually focused a lot on just like I was watching YouTube videos constantly about like entrepreneurship, like just how to get rich. Like obviously when you're younger, you gotta get pulled into some of those videos that are just like they're kind of just full of BS. But I did watch a lot of like really good helpful stuff. I always had the mind going that I wanted to do business. Like even in 6th grade, I started a little YouTube channel where I was like jailbreaking phones, and then like I kind of blew up the Instagram a little bit for that. I deleted it. I don't remember exactly why. Not the YouTube. You can look it up. I was hacking help. That's me in 6th grade. I'm a little squeaker, like just kind of like coding stuff, right? You know what I mean? Okay. So I always just kind of had the mindset that I wanted to start business. My dad, he's actually like he kind of grew a business like from when I was born. Like a couple years later, he started his own business, and then he grew it, and he's still doing it now. And so I kind of like got to watch him, do entrepreneurship. He taught me a lot, and that kind of like, you want to do what your dad does, you know what I mean? So I watched that. And yeah, so in high school, I just really didn't care about classes. I was like, man, I'm just, I know that in the future, I'm going to do stuff, that won't require me to any of this knowledge. I don't even know much about biology, right? And I was always I was kind of a smart kid, so I was able to, pass my tests, and like kind of cram right before, like learn the facts. Okay. Then when I got to college, my first semester, I went in with like the goal of having a 4.0. And so like my first semester, I did that, I successfully did it. But then I went to Arizona, and then the old me started going like, hey man, like just, let's do some business, man. Let's make some content. Like, like don't think about classes. And I was like, so then like the grades took a dip. Eventually, actually earlier this year, I dropped out. I started doing door to door this summer. And then linked back up with John because we had been friends like a year before. Like we've been hanging out, crazy. Off and on. Yeah. And so, so that's basically, what my mindset's been growing up. I always just wanted to do entrepreneurship. I wanted to be my own boss. I never really thought I would work for anybody long term. I never thought I would be, like an accountant or like just someone sitting at a desk job. And so it's kind of always what my mindset's been. So
love it.
Yeah.
So John,
for me, my dad, he's a workaholic. So he just works. And he built a successful company. And as we were growing up, he was like just always pushing on us. He was like, John, he's like, you got to learn how to make your own money. You got to learn how to sell stuff, how to, create a business, successful business. So it actually started with me in elementary school. So do you guys remember the I Love Boobies, like the bracelets? No. So back in elementary school, there's a I Love Boobies, like bracelets. And they went like,
I remember the Save the Tatas. Is that the same thing? Was it like the breast cancer awareness thing?
I think it had to do something.
The silly bands? The silly bands?
No, so
like
silly bands was before that.
Okay.
So silly bands and the I Love Boobies. And so essentially I ended up going on Alibaba. But before that, my brother, I saw him because he was like, he went on Alibaba and AliExpress, and he ended up buying, just tons and tons of shirts and hats. And he decided to basically, print on demand and sell it in middle school. And so my dad was like, John, he's like, you got to do something like that. You got to start a business. And so I was like, okay. So that's when I went on Alibaba and AliExpress, and I bought 100, or my dad had bought 100 I Love Boobie bracelets. I went the next day, or when they came in, I went and I started like selling them. I was like, I got these bracelets, they're going viral, like everyone has them, and they're like, how much? I started at $5, started selling it for $5. And as I was selling them, eventually, the demand, everyone was like, yo, like, I need more. Yeah, so my brother is Josh Q Madrid, aka Jet Set Fly. I feel like a lot of the successful and the reason why I am where I am today is because I saw my brother, my dad, and they're just, working. They had that like mindset because my dad was just always pushing on us, like, read a book. It's funny too because growing up, my parents didn't really let me like watch TV. Like no SpongeBob. I didn't really play too many games. They're like, read a book, go play outside, and like have fun. Be a kid. Yep. So I never really like had, I guess, that experience of like technology, and so when I saw my brother do his thing at middle school, I was like, dang, like this is insane. Like he's, making money and he's selling these caps and people want it. And so when I started selling the I Love Booby bracelets at middle school, I ended up selling them for $5, $10, $15, $20, and ended up making like $200 elementary. I think it was 4th grade. All right. 5th grade, I became the president of the school. And it was funny because when I went to middle school, in elementary school, I started selling the bracelets. And as I started selling the bracelets,
Where's home for you?
Oh, so home is Menifee, California.
Okay.
So I was born in Columbus, Ohio. And then around the age of 3, I ended up moving to Whittier, California, like over there near like LA.
Whittier.
Yeah, Whittier. Yeah. And then from Whittier, I left around like maybe like 5. Then we moved to Menifee, California, which is an hour away from San Diego. Yeah. And we live in like a small town. So there's probably like only 20,000, 30,000 people in Menifee, and the town was just growing. But essentially, back to how I got started and stuff. I started with the I Love Booby bracelets, and then from there I went to trying to think. It was I Love Booby bracelets, and then
Was it 5th grade? 5th grade, you were president. What did you do then?
huh?
Did you do anything in 5th grade when you were president?
No,
Or was it just straight to?
Yeah, so 4th grade is when I like kind of got into it, when I started like selling stuff and kind of getting the hang of it. Stopped, and then I went to middle school. In middle school, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start selling candy because everyone was selling candy, and I was like, yo, I could do this. I went to the dollar store every single day, and I bought chips, I bought candies, I bought drinks, and I would fill up my duffel bag. And I walked to school with the 2 duffel bags, and I have a backpack, and I leave it into one of my favorite teachers, Mrs. Nessman. I leave it in her room. And she'd be like, hey, like, you can't tell anybody that, like, that you're keeping your snacks here because, you're not allowed to, like, sell stuff. And I was like, okay, I got you. So every time, like, someone would be like, hey, man, you got the chips, you got the drinks. I'd be like, yeah.
You got the cheeseburgers?
You got the cheeseburgers. I would go to her class and just kind of just, like, sell it. So I sold, chips and drinks and snacks from middle school into freshman year. And then freshman year is when I saw my brother. When he started his entrepreneur business, and he was doing, he was like hosting like small events at like houses with the group that he had joined with. I forgot what it was called. I think it was called like Zango. Yeah.
Oh
Zango. Yeah.
MLM.
Yeah. And so essentially, I saw him, and I kind of just like replicated it, what he did. And, as he started, like, growing, I see that he started building a team. I see that he started, boom, he moved to a different place. And I was like, dang, like, you can actually make, like, money online. You can actually, really do this. And that really, inspired me, like, really, really inspired me. And that's where but me and my friend Jacob, he started his first Shopify store. This was the end of freshman year.
Got you.
He started his first Shopify store, and it was a Trump store, conservative store.
Yeah.
And so we're selling flags, or he's selling flags, he's selling hats, he's selling shirts. And, the first day he ended up putting a shout out up for like, he spent $8. And this is when like shout outs were like nothing. This was 2016, 2017. And, posting on social media and doing like shout outs and stuff like was not big at all, right? As big as now, like you'd be paying 20,000, 10,000.
50, 100.
Yeah, literally.
NFT is wild, man.
But yeah, so long story short, I got into the e-commerce space at the end of freshman year. And Jacob, my best friend, he ended up helping me. He was like, yo, let's create the store. We could do it together. We can make 2 different stores. Same thing, though. So the same thing, we'll just promote it on different pages. And sometimes we could promote it on the same page. And so I was like, all right, sweet, let's do it. So we started doing it. The first promo that we did, we paid $8. And then, we made $600 within like 12 hours. I'm like, yo, this is insane. Like, you can actually make money by selling products. And this was drop shipping. And I remember when I first started drop shipping, I was like, I don't understand it. Like, why can't you just buy from here and they ship it to
so
you?
basically, for those people that don't know, explain drop shipping.
Yeah. So drop shipping is basically, you create a website, you're basically the third party. So for example, when someone purchases a product off of your store, then you will go ahead on AliExpress or wherever your suppliers are, and you would buy it off of them, and then you basically ship it to them. So that's basically drop shipping.
So you would go buy products from Amazon, wholesale basically, put it on your website, and then ship it to the consumer that would buy it from you?
No, so we would. So once someone buys it, we would.
But they buy it from you though.
Yeah, they buy it from us, and we would buy it from the like third party, and then we put in like the address, and then it gets shipped to them.
So
it's
you're
kinda,
basically
we don't touch
just the
product, we don't
broker
do-
shipper, but the broker collector.
Yeah, yeah.
I see.
And we mainly did it. We did AliExpress, but then our first time, like, we started getting like emails, and they're like, "Yo, like, where's our product?" Because it's taking like 3 weeks, and this is like our first time, so we weren't really like sure how to really run a successful business, you know. And so once we kind of like realized like, yo, like, AliExpress isn't the move, we started taking it to Amazon. So we took it to Amazon because Amazon's a lot faster shipping.
And this is while you're in high school, right?
Yeah, this was when, so this whole story from starting my first Shopify store led it all the way to my junior year.
Got you.
Yeah, so my junior year.
Now, what else were you doing? Were you doing any sports, ladies,
yeah, so I was
friends? Like, what was the deal?
Yeah, so I was doing track.
Because people want to know.
yeah.
People hear this. They want to know the story, but they want
Yeah.
to know the guy behind the blonde.
Yeah, so I've been doing, I was running track for 9 years. So I started running track when I was in, I believe it was 6th grade.
Bro, why track?
I'm fast.
Dude.
Yeah, I'm
So
fast.
then put a ball in your arms and run.
I was like, I was 6th in state for long jump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
My theory was, man, look, if you're going to make me run, I need to chase a ball, chase another color uniform.
Yeah.
I played ball in junior college, so nothing at all. But if I was going to, I ran a lot.
Yeah.
I played backup, so I was the grunt. If I'm going to run, I'm going to run for something.
Yeah.
So they tried to, because I was pretty quick too, they tried to get me to do track, and I was like,
We're gonna race.
yeah, I was a 4.40 when I was a senior, bro.
jeez.
Yeah, I actually was on the Olympic team to do the skeleton, but then I decided to go on a mission for my church instead, and I missed the Olympics, which I don't want to do the Olympics anyway.
Yeah.
You ever seen the skeleton?
Uh-uh.
I think they went to a bunch of track teams, and they recruited a bunch for bobsled,
Yeah.
skeleton luge.
You
They hit
didn't.
up a bunch of people.
Your coaches didn't make you play or run track at all.
No, they actually, my football coach made us do ballet.
No way.
Yeah, we did ballet.
Respect.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no,
Respect.
so dude, I dance, bro.
You dance?
No, you saw me dance.
I was like,
I don't dance. No, I just pull up my pants. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just kidding. So so you're doing track, you get your friends, and then obviously you're running
I
these
actually did
businesses.
football too.
Football. What
Yeah,
other
I did,
things did you
I
like
was
to
wide
do?
receiver for football, but I was like 2nd string.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Football.
He's Odell, man.
track.
Look at him.
Yeah, just the hair. Yeah, so I did football. I ran track for 9 years. And then also, so as I was like running track, it was funny. It was like a weird like balance. And I was putting a lot more effort into the e-commerce because I was like, yo, like this is insane on how much money you can actually create, you know, like creating multiple stores. We had like 3 stores at the time by junior year. And I ended up actually going homeschool my junior year. My uncle actually, the filmer, that's my Uncle Sam.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's my dad's little brother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so he had went homeschooled first, and then my friend Jacob, who actually got me started into the e-commerce, he went homeschooled second, and then I was like, nah, I don't really have any friends. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna go homeschool. And then we kind of just like doubled down on everything. And that's when I kind of like started hanging out with Josh a lot more.
Josh, your brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
Josh, yeah. That's when I started hanging out with him.
We got a lot of
more.
J's here.
Yeah, literally. We got Joey, John, Josh. And then we got another Joey over there.
That's like when I go on my Instagram, all I got to do is hit @J, and then y'all 3 pop up. All right, good.
All of us, right?
Yeah.
And Junior Punks, yeah, all of them.
All of them.
Yep.
I'm saying
Yeah.
they're all.
Yep.
It makes it easy.
That's sick. But yeah, so that's when I started hanging out with Josh a lot more, and I started seeing, you know, how he moved and how he operated and how he was able to build like a successful team. And so I ended up moving to it was Irvine. He stayed at Irvine. He actually went to UCI, but I went over there to his house, and I kind of just like followed his lead and started like learning and try to just like teach myself because he was really busy, you know, running all of his things. And, you know, as time went on, just kind of started building and understanding, reading a lot more books. And, you know.
So when did you go to Arizona?
Yeah, so Arizona, after I graduated high school, went to Arizona. I had a girlfriend at the time, and that was the reason why I went to that college, actually, because she was like, yeah, I'm going to Grand Canyon University. And we had like just started dating. And so, you know, I was in love. I was head over heels. You know, it was like the home.
She hating now, dog.
Yeah. No,
She wishing.
What? For real?
She wishing.
Nah, all love though, all love. But yeah, so she was like, I'm going to Grand Canyon University. And I was like, I'm going to Grand Canyon University too. And because I wasn't planning on going to college, just because like the position that I was in, I felt like I didn't need to. But obviously, I do think college is very good, and eventually, I still want to like go back and get my degree.
Sure.
Because knowledge is key. But yeah, so I ended up going to Grand Canyon University. We lived a whole dorm experience, and I wasn't really so the squad that Joey was talking about. So I wasn't really like we all dormed together. But I wasn't really like hanging out with them that much because I was just too busy and occupied with my girl at the time. But then as I started like coming back to the dorm room, and I remember Carrington. So Carrington's our special effects editor who currently edits all of the Junior Punk stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think you reposted him.
Yeah, and I met him. He was there last night, right?
Yeah.
I met him.
And so Carrington goes, hey, man, like there's this kid named Joey. He's really dope. He's really cool. And like, he's explaining it to me.
He's from Wisconsin. And he was homeschooled.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah,
literally. And I remember the first time I like walk in and meet him. It was at the jacuzzi, right?
Yeah, no. So literally, they're all hanging out in the jacuzzi, right? No,
Is this G-rated?
Oh yeah.
All right.
This is
college, dorm, jacuzzi. Sounds like it's getting.
This is really funny. This is gonna give you a good idea of who John is. Man.
Yeah.
So I walk up to the jacuzzi, right? I'm about to meet them all. Like, so I'd already met like a bunch of them. Like we had hung out the night before, but John wasn't there. And so I go and I'm going to hang out with all of them. And I go in the hot tub. I sit down. I meet John. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? He's like, hey. Yeah, like 2 minutes later, he just goes underwater. I just feel someone tapping my foot, and then he just comes back up, and I was like what? I was like, I just met him 2 minutes ago. He's like, he's funny, man. He's like, he's just very,
I'm a weird kid.
Very personable.
Yeah. For me, like, I guess, like, when I see someone like edifies me about someone, I just like get out my comfort zone. I'm just like, being that way, I'm like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, what's up, man? How you doing? Like, hey, type of thing. Like, I just have a lot of things, and I'm just like, I gotta let it out. And I see, like, oh.
Well, I appreciate that. So because that's a skill that sometimes I have I have two sons. One is more reclusive and doesn't speak a lot, and he's kind of like really thoughtful.
Yeah.
Very meek kid. My other son is super outgoing, and it's hard because he wants to be like his older brother, but. For example, when I walked into the party and you were on the stage, my favorite video, and I commented on your thing, was when you noticed it was me and you're like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, and I felt welcome. And I feel like that's a skill set that so many people don't do or use nowadays. So to make sure that know that is something that you'll use in business a lot is making people feel welcome. And you either have it or you don't. It's like something that you can. And you can learn these things, but that's a natural gift that you have, man, because I just felt super welcome. And I was like, hey, I'm supposed to be here, even though I felt good. But I appreciate that. That's cool.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that a lot. Yeah.
It's true. John is like, he's different with that, man. Like, his personality. You see how he controlled the crowd, too, with the Junior Punks. No, because that was like kind of something I had to learn for sure. Like, when I was little, I was talkative. You know, like, I'm talkative, but I'm not super outgoing naturally. So, like, when I was like middle and high school, I was pretty like, like nervous, like anxious, like social anxiety, like talking to people. And then I kind of like, I really was like, I realized like if I want to do anything in business or like be really successful in life, I really need to focus on people skills and just getting good at like talking to people, making friends, being outgoing. And so that was like a huge focus of mine. I would even like watch those like YouTube videos, like look up like Charisma on Command or whatever. Like those YouTube, I used to like watch those, like how to be outgoing, like how to start conversation, things like that. And so
I think that's why we work so good together, because Joey, like his skill set, he's very good at just laying it down.
Sure.
Just his people skills. I feel like I'm working on it. I'm getting a lot better. As time goes on, I'm just kind of seeing how he operates and stuff. And I feel like his people skills, the way he just talks and just everything about how you operate is just solid. And I feel like we bounce off, you know, I help you with, you know, just being more outgoing when it comes to like, you know, a crowd or having, you know, more people to control, or, you know, just the creative side, as well as just a lot of other things. I feel like we just kind of bounce off of each other, and it's just really, really cool.
It's a lot of like him bringing like the energy and the creativity, whereas I'm coming in, I bring like a little bit more like structure, or like when we're talking like AMAs and stuff, like with like wording and just like explaining things. Cause like that was like the door-to-door sales. Like that's what taught me most of that. You have to knock on someone's door, talk to somebody you don't know, and you have to lay out a very complicated concept to them very quickly to make them understand it, you know, and make them actually want to do it as well. And so that was like the biggest thing I learned within this last like year. And so that's like, I think that like that last summer was like, it like changed my life with like what I'm doing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, doors are so good because you get, and I was at, how old are you guys?
20.
Yeah. So these are business skills that are called soft skills that you'll only learn with time, right? Yeah. And I feel what's cool is when you get put in these pressure situations, whether it's on stage or it's on the doors or dealing with customers or investors, you get put in scenarios where your time gets sped up by pressure, right? Yeah. And then that's what causes wisdom to happen. And so what I've learned, I got this from Jerry Seinfeld actually, was that the customer or the investor, people you're talking to, they're going to give you 7 seconds. You got 7 seconds to captivate them. You're going to do it with your energy. Yeah. And you're going to do it with your straight ability to be calm and smooth. You got to weigh a voice tone that allows people to want to listen to what you're going to say next. And it's like you said, you're very much complimentary of each other, but you're going to get better with time. Yeah. And one thing I've noticed is when people meet me, they're like, oh, you're pretty calm and you're smooth. But if you see me with my brother, who's my partner too, who's my COO, he is the Joey and I'm the John, right? I'm like I'm the colorful, I'm the creative one. But then if I'm not with him, if I'm with someone that's more creative than me, then I turn into the calm, this guy. Yeah. Right?
It's so funny how that works. Like where like you're different. It's like totally natural for people to act different around like different people that they hang out with, right? Like my little brother, I know you're talking about how like your 2 sons, right? One's like very outgoing and one is like very just like reclusive, but like focused on like, you know, things like that. That's like my little brother. Like my little brother's like very like quiet, you know, he's a little bit shy sometimes, you know, he's good at like talking if someone comes and talks to him, but he's very like structured and organized and like he stays on things. He's way better than me at doing that. So like when me and him are together, I'm the John and he's the me, right? Yeah. Same as like with some other like friends I have. Whereas like, so yeah, it's the same thing.
One thing I did for years, and I've been beaten on this one for almost 16 years, is knowing that when you want to be that calm, cool, collected guy that you need to be in an investor room, that I started reading like the dictionary. Like I'll look up random words and get words. Because if you want to be that calm, cool guy, dropping some bigger, more, more not like frivolous type wording, but really like pungent rhetoric. So that someone like, knows
like
you're
plethora.
Plethora, plethora, or pungent rhetoric, right? Pungent so that you sound that you're learned, which you are, and people are listening. So work on that, like study that when you read those books, and then also knowing that your weakness is in being that energetic guy. And I'm not saying you, just in general, right? Being that energetic guy, knowing when to harness or throttle or hodl, which is actually a word. I use that with my wife. She's like, it's not a word. I'm like, look it up. It's actually a word used with Bitcoin specifically. It is actually. It's an acronym. Do you guys know that?
Hold on for dear life.
There you go. Oh, yeah. I didn't know that. Hold on for dear life. They're trying to make it an actual word.
I learned that in our own Discord, actually. From people. I saw people saying it, and I was like, why are they all misspelling hold? You know what I mean? And then somebody else asked them, and they're like, it stands for hold on for dear life. And I was like, oh. And then we just go right to Twitter, hashtag hodl the bottle.
There you go. No, totally. That's so cool.
Thank you for listening to the Doors to Success podcast. Tune in next week for part 2 with the Junior Punks.